We're going to look at an interesting pen, a confusing pen, a clone, a copy. What is it? It's at first glance, it looks very much like a Parker, doesn't it? It has the Parker clip, and everything looks like a Parker 51 in some ways. When you uncap it, you'll see that it has a hooded nib. It's almost like a tubular nib. So what this is actually a Chinese-made pen. It's the Wing Sung 601. And, well, it's an interesting pen, actually. And it's a pen that I often forget about in my collection. And, I haven't really mentioned it. I don't put it on any lists. I never really think about this pen. Strange thing is this pen is almost always in my pocket. It's the pen I don't worry about. I got it a couple of years ago from a place in China, $20 Canadian, free shipping. And we ordered 4 pens at once, and they came within a couple of weeks. And what you get is essentially a pen with an interesting history. The story I've heard, one of the stories I've heard is that essentially after the communist takeover of China, when Parker pulled out of China, they left all the machines behind for making the Parker 51, and the Chinese just kept on making them. That's actually a cool story if it's true. I don't know if it is, but I'm repeating it, so take it with a grain of salt. And what you end up with is the Wing Sung 601, and there's a Wing Sung 601A, which doesn't have a hooded nib, but has essentially a Schaefer Triumph style nib on it. Now, when you take it off, it's a pull cap. It's a plastic pen. At the back, there's a piston. You push that in, and it's sort of a piston filler. And in many ways, this is very similar to the original Parker 51s. The recent reissue from Parker has a screw cap and doesn't have a piston filler, so, or whatever we call this. The major difference is this has an ink window. And I have to admit, I really like the ink window. It comes in handy because, full plastic body, you sometimes just don't know how much ink's in it, especially when it's a piston filler and the whole barrel is full of ink. You can't just take the pen apart and look inside at the converter or the cartridge and see if you have ink left. No, you have to wait until it runs out. But with the ink window, you can tell pretty quickly how much ink you have. The thing about this pen, it feels actually in the hand very nice. It has a high quality plastic by the feel of it. Mine here, you'll see some marking around here just from dipping it in the ink or whatever. This has been this has been in my pocket with keys and coins and screws and nails, and I haven't taken care of it as I would with other pens. It's a pocket pen. So when I look at it, it has held up remarkably well. There's very few I can't really see any scratches or dings or nicks in the pen. So that's remarkable, considering how terrible I've been with this pen. The one thing I do notice about this pen is that the clip is sometimes comes off fairly easily. So if you start turning it, you'll see the clip moves here. So sometimes that comes off, and I have to dig around in my pocket, find the screw, put it back on, which is a pain. It'd be nice if that's the one major flaw in this pen, that little clip right there. It's a little loose for whatever reason. But yes, if you were to look at this pen, you would be hard-pressed to tell if it's Parker 51, except if you look a little closer on the band, on the cap band, or not cap band, but at the end of the cap, it says "Made in China 601," and then there's the Chinese characters there telling you what it is. So yes, it's So somebody, it could get passed off as the real thing if you weren't careful. Uh, but other than that, it's an interesting little pen. I always tend to use the Monteverdi Chariot ink in this pen. Works quite nice. It's a nice purpley ink. I like it quite a bit. I'll just give it a little swatch here so you can see it. Very attractive ink, sort of a violet purple. It's supposedly lubricated for piston fillers. So yeah, there's a blind cap on the end, and actually the blind cap is very well machined. You can just about feel it when you run your hand over, but actually at first glance, there's no real evidence that it's there. So you have to unscrew this, push that down, put it in, and it fills up really nicely. Just boom, right? And there we are. Put that back on. It posts well. I like my pens to post. That's one good thing about it. I'm going to wipe it off quickly. And I'm going to do a little writing sample. Now, it's a very fine nib. It's almost, how would I describe it? It's almost tubular style nib. It's wiry. It's kind of wiry almost. Look, when you look at it, it's very, very fine. That's actually probably closer to the original Parker 51 nib, actually. The reissue has a different nib from the original Parker 51. And in some ways, this is, yeah, quite close to the original nib that the Parker 51 has, which kind of lends credence to that story about it being made on Parker machinery. So, the quick brown fox. Over the lazy dog. So it's a very fine line. There's no variation in this line at all. I wouldn't call it, well, it's not the wettest writer. But you know what? For what I use it for, it's perfect. It writes well. It's great for taking notes. I like the fact that it has a pull cap, and so all that works very well. Anyway, so there we have it, the Parker, not the Parker, the Wing Sung 601, and we're just going to give it a visual reference here. This is the Metropolitan, the Pilot Metropolitan. As you can see, they're very similar in size and even in shape. So that gives you an idea how big this pen is. Great little pen. Cheap. Free shipping from China. Yeah, if you're looking for a nice pocket pen that you can carry around in your pocket or a bag or a purse and not worry about losing it, this is a good pen. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, I'd love it if you subscribe. And if you have any comments, do you have a Wing Sung? What's your favorite Wing Sung if you do have them? Do you have the original Parker? That would be interesting to know about. So anyway, talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.